today. My name is John Griemer. I'm the Chief Sales Officer at Link, and I'm your host today. I'm delighted to be joined by my colleague Nuno Rapino, who is presenting Increasing Productivity Without Headcount. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. You'll all be put on mute, and if you have any questions during the presentation, please type them in the questions box in your GoToWebinar control panel, and we'll endeavour to answer them either during the meeting or where we'll have hopefully a little bit of time for Q&A or after the meeting. To make this session as interactive as possible, we have a poll. Please complete the poll as it appears on your screen. And for those of you that may not be aware, Link provides small to mid-sized manufacturers with effective resource management in a single plug-and-play solution. Today, Link MES improves the effectiveness of more than 10,000 resources, increasing efficiency, productivity, and profitability of manufacturers. Now, without further ado, we'll turn this over to my colleague, Nuno.
Some technical problems. There we go. Thanks for the introduction, John, and welcome everyone. I'm really pleased to be invited to deliver this presentation today on how Link can help your business increase productivity without headcount. Just a little bit about me before we start. For those who don't know me, my name is Nuno Rapino. I'm the Solutions Manager here at Link. And over the last 14 years, I have gained an extensive knowledge, I would like to think, of manufacturing operations, including demand planning, supply chain management, and implementation of lean manufacturing techniques within small and large manufacturers. As well as the successful consultancy and implementation of Link for numerous clients and in different industries, such as industrial machinery, food and beverage, packaging, and medical devices, just to name a few. As you'll see, I've popped my email address and LinkedIn details on the screen. So if you have any questions that you don't manage to ask during this webinar, please feel free to contact me and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I'm not going to turn my camera off, so we all have a nice and clear screen. So, as you know, your employees and equipment are your most valuable assets in the business. So therefore, understanding their effectiveness is paramount. So the purpose here today is to explore how Link can help you achieve that. And as such, the agenda will be to first understand resource effectiveness and measuring resource effectiveness and its benefits. This will be followed by a live demonstration with a Q&A and a summary and a Q&A at the end. So if you can't measure it, you can't improve it. So this is a powerful statement, but let me explain. So for example, I've taken a CNC machine and a typical 24-hour period. The machine only runs during shift time and you work 2 10-hour shifts. So effectively, 4 hours have already been lost. This loss, it is a financial decision as to whether or not your business will benefit from running the full 24 hours period. But after this is where it gets interesting. The first loss is a loading loss. And you have to consider the machine being left in idle, requires maintenance, or even the setups and teardowns. All of these times are times when the machine is not producing. In my case, I've lost an additional 4 hours. And then after you created a plan that has the minimized idle time and maintenance, or even the changeovers, you get hit with a dose of reality. The equipment breaks down, your operator is short of materials or documentation. We classify this type of losses as an availability loss. And again, another 2 hours lost. And now that your job, and now as you follow through this process, Now the job is running, but it's not running as quickly as you plan it and according to your routings. So now you're suffering from a performance loss. And this could be due to things as equipment wear and tear, I'm running it slower, or perhaps an operator that has not been trained. And then finally, when you get to the point that we are producing parts, unfortunately, some of them do not pass your quality inspection, and they need to be scrapped or they need to be reworked. So now we have a quality loss. So we started with a 24 hours and end up with only 10 hours being effective. These are the hours when you're only producing good products. So we start, so these losses, trying to put in perspective, but these losses, they can be substantial, especially when you consider that this example is only considering one machine for one day. So if we say that the rate, this machine rate, hourly rate is $35, and we multiply by the lost hours, we now lost $490 in just one day. And to put it in perspective, if you imagine that you have 15 resources, they've been your employees and the machines, and you multiply the lost hours by 365 days that we have in a year. And you can see how all of these mount up and the losses are substantial. And if you consider from these total losses from both the cost and margin perspective, you begin to understand why is it so important to ensure your resources are effective. So what I'm going to show you during the demo is how easy it is to identify and visualize these losses in Link. So your supervisors, your continuous improvement team can deploy countermeasures to minimize and eliminate all of these losses. So if possible, every hour becomes an effective hour that produces only good product. But before we start, we have our first pool. As I would like to understand from you guys, how are you tracking the effectiveness of your resources? It is a close tight. It is close, but I can see that the majority of us in this webinar are currently tracking the resources effectiveness using either time cards or spreadsheets. I do know from first-hand experience how difficult the difficulties and the challenges that come with these methods. I remember spending countless number of hours trying to first understand the data that was coming from the shop floor. Then in some cases have to transfer it to the ERP system or even to other spreadsheets so I could present it in my reports to the senior management. To be honest, I found that there are problems with all of these methods. And eventually, one way or the other, they will have an impact on how you run your business. So for example, one of the things these methods do not provide is real-time visibility. So as a result, the stoppages, they go unnoticed. Or because the data is manually entered, the accuracy and the quality of this data is questionable, to say the least, and it's also time consuming because the operators, they spend time writing on a paper, they're not producing parts. And since the data is historical, in some cases it has less value. And as I've seen it, sometimes the shop floor just accepts the problems and the inefficiencies, which is not good for the business. There is a better way to achieve this efficiency, and with Link provides a single plug-and-play manufacturing operations management solution. It has been formed around the international standard IEC 62264, and as you can see from this model, it comprises of 8 core activities. But today we're only going to focus on 4 of these activities. They are the execution management that deals with the flow of production through the sequence of operations as defined by the routings. Data collection, which is a gathering of and compiling and management of data from production. And tracking, that deals with the summarized real-time status reporting of employees, equipment being used to produce a product and including the current operating status. And then finally, we're looking at performance analysis that deals with the reporting of performance information and includes resource-based analysis such as overall labor effectiveness and overall equipment effectiveness. To list some of the benefits that with Link, you can achieve that real-time data collection, tracking, and performance of your equipment or employees, your equipment, and your production orders. This will help your business to have a better control over your labor and equipment costs, increase the resource utilization, hopefully helps reduce your downtimes, but perhaps the biggest benefit will be to remain competitive in what we know is a very volatile and ever-changing global landscape right now. Now on the demo and the limited time that I have today, I can only show you some of the solutions capabilities. So let's have a look. Hopefully I'll do this correctly. And here we go. So Link is predominantly a web-based application, therefore allows you to access from any device with a browser. And as I previously mentioned, today's focus will be to demonstrate on how Link can help your business take control of your shop floor activities in order to achieve a maximum production efficiencies, reduce the waste, cut costs, and hopefully increase the profits in your manufacturing operations. To achieve that, first of all, we need to have control and improve the accuracy and quality of our data. Link data collection, in Link data collection, the data is captured in real time from the employees and machines. We can create an unlimited number of terminals. These terminals are highly configurable and can be configured to suit your business requirements. So for example, I'm able to set up a terminal for time and attendance purposes that is available at the entrance of the building, so I can capture when my employees clock in and when my employees clock out. These type of terminals, they can be integrated with or can even replace clock-in systems, and the data that we collect can also be sent to your payroll systems. Worth pointing out, there are multiple ways how you can access to these data collection points. You can, as I'm doing, just typing my employee number. I can use a barcodes scanner, or I can use an RFID card. Other configurations in here, and I'm going to show you some different configurations in here. Other configurations that we can have is to capture only labor time. For this particular example, for this particular example, I am looking looking at a configuration for environments that deal or process high number of jobs in one day. So we're trying to simplify that process. Oh, should have done that. So to do that, so our employees spend more time producing parts and less time writing on a paper or in spreadsheets. I can configure a terminal that I can simply, with one, and I have a barcode scanner with me. With a barcode scanner, I can just scan in the task that I'm going to run. I can go and run that task for a couple of minutes. I can then, at the end, I can just say, I'm going to report the quantity. I can go to the extent during the configuration to predefine some of these values so the employee doesn't have to manually type the quantity that is reporting. I can also, at the point of reporting, backflash or issue the materials required to that I've used to complete one of these units. We can put some validations in place to so if additional information regarding those components is required, such as serial number, lot, pin number, we can put those validations to make sure that the employees type that information. In my case, because I have it, so I can give you some view. So in this case, I do know that these items are lot. I need a lot number. But because I'm doing the demo, I'm going to forget to add the lot number, and the system is now telling me that, hold on, you need to add these values. In my case, I've just had a warning, but we can prevent, we put a prevent, so unless they specify that data, they can move on to the next job. And then I can start and move on to my next job, and off I go. So with 2 or 3 clicks, now I have full visibility of what this employee is doing. I'm in real time, I'm posting that information to the ERP system, and I have that visibility, okay? There are other configurations, and I'm gonna try to touch as much as I can in this limited time. The more standard configuration that we see is to capture the labor and the machine time, and we can configure the terminals for that. So what we can do in here, I can set up a terminal, and I'm going to use another employee now that is already connected to the system. This person, it is already running that particular task. But with this type of terminals, I can link one or multiple equipments to this terminal just to minimize the employee interactions from going to one terminal to another one, so it simplifies that process. But when I look into the machine, I can see the detailed job list for the period of time that I've defined, so forcing the operators to run and to produce the correct parts so they don't deviate from the parts. So there's a more of a plan adherence in here. And also, I can configure the terminal to identify why does this machine stop? What are the reasons why the machine stopped, the downtimes, okay? From here, the same scenario, I can now, and I'm just leaving it running, but from in this case, I can now start, when I press the start button, I start capturing data for both my employee and for my machine against that particular task. So we're capturing data for both of these resources. The employee, just to touch base, the employee also has its own downtimes that can be defined. We can go to the extent of issuing materials in advance. So in the previous terminal, I was doing it, I was backflashing the materials. We can also issue the materials up front. So in cases where you have operation 1 kitting operation, we can set up the terminal to issue the materials. In addition to that, at the point of reporting a quantity, no, even before that, in addition to, I can add documentation that relates to this particular job or to this particular stock code. So the employee doesn't have to wait or go to the office to find out, oh, where's the drawing or the work instructions for this particular job. So we can attach this to the job, to the stock code, or even to a customer. In addition to that, when we go to reporting, or even in here, but I'll show it at the point of reporting, when I report the quantity, I can also send some parameters to third-party applications. And one that we are seeing very frequently is the bartenders, Domino's, and so on, where we can send the parameters to those labor printers to say, employee A is running job 504, operation 1 at 6:22 p.m. and I would like to send the quantity and a serial number if needed. So we can send all of these parameters to bartender, and when I press the button, it prints the label. So we're automating all of this process. I can also, when things go wrong, I can also report scrap. And the same way we can have this validation to say, look, you need to specify why are you scrapping this component. And obviously, when we complete the task, we can say the task is complete and we will move on to the next one. And now, if I complete this task, even knowing that I still have a few, let's just say I'm going to report 1, 2, 3, 4. This might mess my performance. But when I complete the task, there's my validation, and I'm too quick. But when I complete the task, I now don't have to wait for my supervisor to tell me what to do next. I know exactly what I need to do. And in my case, is to set up the machine for this particular item. And then when I press start, and again, I'm capturing the time, the data in real time. I'll come back to this later because I want to show you to put something in perspective. The same way with other terminals, we can also account for production line environments where you can have one machine, where you can have one machine, but then you have 10, 20, 30 employees working on that production line. So to minimize that process, where usually there tends to be a lead that takes care of that administration process, we just say all the employees, you are going to work as part of a crew, and only one person needs to start, to stop, and now we're capturing in real time the time that the machines runs the job, but also the total time that all of those employees captured against the task. I can move on between crews and so on. And just to finish it off, we can also automate all of this process, because right now you still need that employee input to start, to stop, to report. But we can automate all of this process, because we can, if I go, let's go in there. Let's go in here. I'll show you from here. But we can also capture the data automatically from the machines, but they need to have PLCs and sensors installed. Link can connect with over 140 industrial devices, but I'm going to be cheeky and I'm going to say, if you want to have some additional information regarding digitizing your factory, I would strongly recommend to listen to the webinar that was delivered by my colleague, Danilo Prokopiev, on October the 14th, if I'm not wrong. But to give you an example, I have this really slow, it's a slow production line. And this is just a sample, but let's say, for example, my cycle time is a lot quicker. So I'm capturing now, and I'm capturing things like the goods quantity, serial number, scrap, even the temperatures and so on. Let me slow this down. But what I can see straight away, yeah, I knew we were going to do that. There we go. But what I can see straight away is the quantities that is being reported. So I don't even need to start the task on manually. The task will start automatically. Okay, good. So I'm going to come back to this one in a second. Now, and now that we have an effective method of capturing the data from production, now I'm able to start, I'm able to monitoring and to monitor and to track my resources status, both the employees and the machines, and also my job progress. So I can do that, I can track and have full visibility of what's happening in production. I can do that with the multiple dashboards that we have in here. But for example, if I just want to have a high level visibility of how my overall my resources or the resources that I've selected, how are they performing, I can go to the tracking dashboard. So this dashboard provides me the current employee overall labor effectiveness, but it also provides me with my equipment overall equipment effectiveness. So for those who are not familiar, the OLE and OEE is the analysis of the collective effect 3 workforce factors have on the productive output. They are the availability, that looks at the actual, it shows as a percentage, but it looks at the actual uptime compared with your planned uptime. Performance, that looks at your actual run rate compared with your planned run rate as defined in your routing operations. And quality, that has a percentage as well. It looks at the total number of good units produced compared with the total number of units produced. In any of these metrics, I can drill down. I can drill down to any of these metrics. So for example, if my employee's availability, which is not the case, but if my employee's availability is outside my defined threshold, I can easily drill down. I can understand why, the reasons, and I can go to the extent of looking at the breakdown of that data. So I understand what is my employee availability for now. In addition to this current data, this dashboard also provides information regarding the total number of jobs that are due to start, to finish, that are in progress, or even late, and also the number of products and parts to produce for the period of time that I've selected. Okay. Also, from here, I can have, and we do have a few customers that have this dashboard on the screen. I can see my resources, who's been productive, who's not been productive, and who's out, and the same for the equipment. And again, I can drill down from here. I am able to access the same screen from the main menu. But from here, I can actually see what my resources are doing. I can see when they clocked in, what status they are in. I can see the quantities that they produce. I can see the tasks they are performing. I can also, again, understand my employees' OLE. So in this case, it's slightly lower than I was expected. I can drill down and I can understand also the task that is currently running and how that task is performing. In addition to that, if this employee, and it happens quite frequently, if this employee forgets to clock out or something that happens in production, we also have an option to add an additional menu to add some additional functions, such as send him to break or send him home. Let's send this guy home. He's been working for 8 hours, so now I'm sending him home. The same information can be seen for your employees. And just to give you an example in here, let's say, for example, I'm just going back to my workbench. I have my employee that is running this particular machine. But let's say, for example, that Jane is setting up this machine, but unfortunately, something happened and the machine broke down. There's an equipment failure. This has been one of my downtimes. So the equipment failed. So now I stop counting the time that I was capturing against that task, and I'm start capturing the time that the machine is in this downtime. Jane, on the other hand, she'll go, okay, let me just send a message to my supervisor saying, and I have one done in here, saying she's going to break earlier because the machine is down. So I'm notifying my supervisor. And as a result, I'm just going to say I'm going to break. So now, the same for the employee. I'm not starting capturing the time that she spends in break. I can easily, first of all, if I refresh this page, I can now see easily that the machine changed status. But I also can send a message or even an email to a supervisor, to a maintenance engineer. From as soon as I press the button to say the equipment is down, they will be notified. So reduce the time that your machine is down. So you can see on my alerts that the machine is down, when it went down, and in which terminal. Okay. And as a result, because the machine is down, because I'm her supervisor, she sent me a message to say that she's in break now. So it gives you this full visibility of what is happening in production. And keep in mind that all the data that is being generated in the workbench is sent in real time to your ERP system. But we also storing that data to enable me to start to understand where my issues are in production. What problems did I had last month? What can I do to improve my business? So I can look at it from any of these metrics. I can drill down to any of these metrics and understand why my equipment or my employee availability was 92%, the reasons why, what is the trend for the month, as an example. I can go and I can look at my employees' factory analysis in here. And again, I'm looking in January. And if you think about the first slide, now we're looking at the losses for that month. And what can I do to reduce those losses and see all those trends and everything. But ultimately, what we're trying to get in here is to understand where the problems lie, give you the visibility for give you that visibility. So you can start looking at, because we have these three categories for employees, for the equipment, but for example for the employees, I want to understand why have I lost 161 hours in the month of January because making adjustments. What can I do to eliminate this loss? Or the job didn't run as or the job didn't run as planned because the sensors are blocked. What can we do to improve this? And this is my performance loss. Or why am I or why am I assembling incorrectly? Is it because I'm missing a drawing? Is it because I don't have the correct work instructions? And that's my quality loss. I can drill down, as I'm showing in here, just on this dashboard, but I can drill down to any of these losses individually, and I can see the same level of information for my employees, but also for my equipment. Because I think it's important to understand, because when we look at it, we start looking at that first slide, that first picture, we start with the calendar hours, and then we start losing. There are losses, and there's always losses in unfortunately, there's always losses in the bits. What we're trying to do is minimize that loss. But if I show it as a percentage, 21%, that's not bad. But, and I know that it's $35 that I have on my equipment. There's a $15,000 in performance, and then another over $7,000 in quality. Overall, in a month, in losses, I've lost 80K. That's a lot of money. And this is as much as I can show you for today. Now going back, now from here, going back to my presentation. I would like just to give you a glimpse of the timeline to implement Link MES, and having it implemented across numerous sites in the industry. I thought it would be useful to provide you this information. So first of all, it takes less than 1 hour to implement Link MES. And from there onwards, you can start reading data from your ERP system, such as jobs, your bill of materials, your machines, even quantities on hand and quantities on hand, and purchase orders if so. On average, depending on the size of the manufacturer, it takes us around 12 weeks to implement the entire solution. And I've just shown you a few elements of it today. We still have all the dispatching, all the scheduling in it. Our focus is always, and we put quite a lot of emphasis in this milestone, is the discovery, because I think for us it is important to understand what you do, how you do it, the challenges, what are you trying to achieve by implementing an MES solution. And typically, the typical ROI is in less than 6 months. And this is just by increasing, this is based on increasing, I believe, 5% increase the efficiency of your resources. So overall, hopefully, what in the short time that I had, what we've learned is how we can automate your data collection and production recording, and how this can be done all in real time. So we increase the speed and the accuracy of the data. How we can how we can track the status of all of your resources and your jobs to help you reduce the downtimes, improve the quality, and hopefully react faster to the production issues. How we can measure your resource effectiveness with world-class factory performance analysis, and to increase productivity by identifying, visualizing, and eliminating loss in the manufacturing process. I'd like to say thank you to everyone for listening, and if you have any questions.
Yeah, hi everyone. Great presentation, Nuno. We've got a couple of questions. One from Steve, and Steve is asking me, can you have multiple employees working on the same job at the same time?
Correct. Yes. I'll give you a brief note in there. So when you look into the crews, so you can have multiple people connected to the same job, and only one person. You only need one of the leads, let's say, to start, to stop, and to complete the job. We take them as working as part of a crew.
Okay. Another question. If a machine goes down, and are you able to send an alert or an alarm of some sort so that everyone is aware that that machine's down?
So yeah, so when a machine goes down, I can define, first of all, I can send an alert to what we call the owner of the group, and it could be the supervisor that is responsible for that area. But parallel to that, I can send an email or an email to an engineer to a maintenance engineer to the supervisor to the CEO of the company if needed. So yes, we do have that capabilities.
Question from Jamie. Can you do specific issues to jobs without an allocation present?
Can you repeat that again?
Yeah, can you do specific issues to jobs without an allocation present?
Yes. It's always our issuing materials in Link is always be based on your job bill of materials. So it's always going to be based in there, but yes, it can be done.
Okay. Can an operator clock into more than one terminal at the same time?
Yes. So in the cases, and we see this very, I see this frequently. So in CNC environments where you can have one employee that runs 2 or 3 machines at the same time. So we can, first of all, to minimize him clocking in and out of the terminals or logging in and out of the terminals, we can connect all the 3 machines into that terminal. We can say machine 1 is starting a job, machine 2 is starting job number 2, and machine 3 is starting job number 3, and we're capturing the time that the machine is running that job, but we also capturing the time for those 3 tasks for the employee. If that makes sense.
Yeah. One that I can answer here. Susan asks, how do I book a one-to-one demo? That's quite easy. So if you go to the link MES website, there's an option to book a demo. It will take a look at my diary and give you dates that I'm available. So that's very easy to do. Just go to linkmes.com, book a demo, and you can book a time that hopefully will work for you and me. Excellent. So that's all the questions. I'm sure there's lots of others that you can think of when you go away from this webinar. Of course, this webinar will be backed up and archived and be available on our website to download. I'll also be sending a copy of the recording out to everyone that registered and attended today. So look out for that sometime tomorrow or Friday. So that's really good. So yeah, wealth of information on our website. As I say, in terms of booking a demo, you can go directly there and book a demo, but there's a lot of information, really valuable information on our website that you can download and read it in your own time. In terms of webinars, we're in the process of creating a list of webinars that we'll run into 2021. So very early in January, you'll start to see those webinars become available, and you can register for them. But so please look out for that. You'll probably get an email from Link anyway, but you'll start to see those webinars appear on our website. So please register and attend. We hope you've enjoyed this webinar today. As I say, there's lots of webinars that we've ran this year that are archived and available for you to view in your own time. Thank you ever so much, everyone, for attending today. And we just wish you all a very Merry Christmas and all the best for 2021. Thank you.